Hello there, more Pumpkin Home Decor DIYs. I can't wait to share them with you. I'm Whitney with Crafty Thoughts and Whatnots. Let's jump into the craft room. Now, first DIY here, we're going to take this cute little frame. Look at this frame. I just got this at Dollar Tree recently. They are really coming through for me on the farmhouse cuteness. So I like the raw wood, I like the little bead detail, so I had to go jump on them. Now, if you remember, I made this along with some others during one of my other videos, just a couple, like 2-3 videos ago. This little resin pumpkin, it's an IOD mold that I got at miltonsdaughter.com. I believe it's currently sold out, but there is a brand new pumpkin one that I'll be using in my next video, guys, because the Christmas stuff just dropped and it's beautiful. So we're going to take this little casting. I used the bigger pumpkin in that other video, so this is the smaller pumpkin, and I'm going to heat up the stem. Since this resin little piece here has already been set for quite some time, we have to warm it back up. And this is my first time doing that. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit different. It kind of turned into rubber. So the resin, when you reheated it, it kind of turned into rubber, like scalding hot rubber, I'll tell you that. But it turned into like a weird rubber. So with pushing it down on the table and more heat and pliers and heat and pliers and push and pliers and burn your fingers, I got the stem to fit where I wanted it. We're going to attach it to the front of the glass. But first I'm going to take the frame here and I'm going to use my DIY paint in the color beadboard. And I got basically all my DIY goodies, my IOD goodies, rice papers, decoupage mediums, all the good stuff. Waxes, you're going to see me use a lot of the DIY wax in this video. I get it all at miltonsdaughter.com. There's a link and a code in my description. Take a peek at it. What applies will take place at the carpet. There is an incentive program for repeat customers. It's a great place. Now what I did here was I took a smaller brush and I just kind of dry brushed just the beads. I didn't use any tape. I wasn't trying to get really neat and tidy with it because we're going to distress it with wax. So with the glass still in it, I put the glass back in and I'm using a Sharpie because I need to know the placement of where I'm putting my punkie, right? Now what I should have done was I put this in beforehand. What happened is this was ready to go for the last video. I didn't finish it because number one, the last video ended up being about way too long, and now this one's an hour-long video. But in any event, I put some E6000 on the back of our goodie here, and then just one little dollop of hot glue. That's honestly not going to do anything if you look at it in the bigger picture here. I'm like, I'm going to tack it down for the immediate hold, and then the long-term hold, yeah, all that blah, blah, blah. It wouldn't have mattered, that little tiny bit of hot glue. Anyway, so I got some clamps, and I'm going to have to be the patient crafter, which I am not. So I put my little clamps on here, and I put like 6 clamps on here. And then I set it off to the side for what I thought was going to be about 30 minutes. It was a couple days. I came back to this project for my next video, which is this one here, and we're going to use my DIY dark wax. I love this stuff. It's not black, it's dark. The dark wax gives you a nice burnt, dusty, smoky look. It's a brownish color. So I love the color of this dark wax. Now that DIY paint that we used on those beads, that does need to be sealed. It is a clay-based paint and it does not have a sealer built into it. So it will reactivate with water and it will, you can distress more with water. I love wet distressing, but in this event, I didn't want this to come off. So I'm going to go heavy on the edges to give us some of that faded, dusty look. I want to say farmhouse, but in any event, it's just a distressed look that I have grown to love exclusively. I love the distressed look. So here I'm just taking the rest of it and I am dusting all over it. It is going to seal the beaded part that we painted white at the same time, also give the rest of the raw wood some color, and then go back on your edges with more of that wax and a little bit of a heavy hand. Now, you don't have to use the wax to distress this way. There is a way you can do that with scrapbook inks and those types of things. I like to do it with the wax because why get out another medium, do that, come out, then you can just do it all at one time. And obviously that wax is like butter and it lasts. It takes such a tiny small amount to do all these projects. I'm still working on the same little pot of wax there that I've had for ages. Probably about a year, I won't say ages. And also, don't forget to do your edges. Now look how pretty this is. That's a Dollar Tree frame, guys, $1.25. So pretty. Now, we come back, our E6000 has cured. That little punkie's not going anywhere. And what I'm going to do is I have an older little bucket here of my beadboard paint, because the one I painted earlier was my newer one, but this one is an older one. It kind of dried out and I've watered it down profusely. I use this more like a whitewash, and in this instance I wanted to just put a coat all over our glass and then also our pumpkin, because we're gonna, guess what we're gonna do, guys? We're gonna distress it with the dark wax again. Shock. I mean, at this point, you could probably guess what I'm going to do. And a lot of times, it's all we do is repeat stuff. Now, I'm going to dry this with my little travel dryer. That's a professional heat gun, by the way. Not really. And check out my Amazon shop if you want one. And so I did a couple coats here. And obviously this is a thinner paint at the moment since I've watered it down. This was just to apply it. We're going to use a baby wipe right here, and we're going to put a texture on it so that it's not apparent that it was slopped on there with a paintbrush. So I'm just dabbing at it at this point. So you can see I'm making the pattern even in the glass around it. Again, we are going to distress it with wax, and then we're going to add some pretty stuff all around it. So the majority of this surface that you see me texturizing, that's not going to be seen. And once you put your project together, you'll say, wow, okay, that looks a little bit messy, but she gonna be pretty when we're done with her. So now back to my favorite dark wax again. And I'm gonna have at it. First, I go very, very lightly on the punkie because, again, you can always add more, but you can't take away. It's kind of, well, that's not like a haircut. It's the opposite. It's the opposite of a haircut. You can't if you cut off too much. So you can always add more, but you can't take away. So it's not even like cooking either. Okay, I have no analogy for this, so scratch that. Anyways, as you can see here, I went very light at first, and then you'll see there's not very much wax on the brush. I dab it into the lid, I add some more, I will load the brush up and push it down in the bristles, and then at that point I will just rub all over the glass behind it, and then I keep going heavier and more heavier. You will feel, your little crafty heart will get that happy squishy feeling inside, and you'll know when you want to stop. I love the details of those molds. I love the fact that resin is so much cleaner to use, so you will be seeing me use the new holiday one coming up next video, and it is a gorgeous pumpkin. This is a gorgeous pumpkin. So we're going to put all of our goodies back together here. And of course we have the glass on the outside with our punkie facing outside. And you could stop here. She's pretty the way she is. That's just some paint and dark, DIY wax. But I'm gonna take, this is some leftover twine from a Dollar Tree bucket, like a Dollar Tree can. I'm gonna do like a little lazy bow, almost like you're about to make a tassel. So I'm gonna wrap it around some cardboard, pull it off, but I'm gonna pinch it in the middle instead of towards the top. And I'm gonna wrap this around the middle instead of towards the top. So basically we can call it a tassel bow, but it's not really a tassel. So hopefully that description might help some of you with some of the easier bows here. This one doesn't take any effort, don't have to hold it that hard with your hands. You're gonna take the same strand, wrap it around the middle. I used a little bit of hot glue on the back, and then now you have this cute little bundled bow. So if you were to move that little knot further up, you'd then have a tassel and cut one end. Now we're gonna burn all the fuzzies off. Now, of course, be careful. I do have a bucket of water and a spray bottle of water, so we're all good to go, so no worries. Make sure you're safe in case, fire, that's the type of thing, don't touch that, that's gonna be hot. Here's your sign, if you know what I mean. Now we are going to add, at first I was just going to put the bow, but I was like, no, I need to put a pop of color in here. So I grabbed one of my bushes. I've had this little bushy bundle here from Hobby Lobby for years, probably maybe 4 or 5 years, 6 years, who knows? I mean, it's been ages. So I cut off some leaves, and I cut out about, 15 minutes of me messing around with leaves. Do you ever get lost in your projects? Like you just sit there and didn't realize I had music going, and I just was like, let me just sit here and record myself putting these leaves in different positions for about 15 minutes. Yeah. And this is already a 50-minute video, so you could imagine how long it would be if I left all that in there. Oh my goodness. I put myself to sleep sometimes. No. I just found placement, guys. Find placement. I found 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, going at diagonals. I kind of like the way they layered them. I put my bow in the middle, so everything's glued down at the moment. Now this is a little hops bush I got at Hobby Lobby. I love their little hopsies. And I grab a lot of these as much as I can. And then if I green ones I get from Amazon, but these ones when they have them at Hobby Lobby, I will grab handfuls of them for each holiday season, because I will use them throughout the year. Honestly, I don't really subscribe to you can only use this during a specific season, because if it looks good, I will stick that in my arrangement. I will shove it in there. Now, I used some of the residual glue that was under the bow to stick those 3 pieces at the bottom, but the top one felt a little big, so I cut the bottom off of her just a little bit, just 2 layers, and then added some more glue, and I'm going to swoosh, just nestle her right back in that top corner, because that makes my heart happy. And I'm loving this little bundle here. I like how it is. Now, yeah, we covered up a little bit of the frame, but what is it? It's layering. This is actually a piece of junk from my junk bucket. It's a piece of a berry stem from Hobby Lobby. Also fall. I think I used this 2 years ago in one of my fall arrangements for my office here. It's just like the perfect color of berry beads. Now, as I was trying to fuss around and find its new place, also spent, 2 hours later on this one, just kind of curving it a little bit. One of the berries did fall off here in my hand. You see here with that little brown berry. We're going to put that off to the side for a second, because I want to want to shove it in right here, but I'm going to have to cut that off. So off to the side, we're going to put some glue on the end of our little pick here and tuck it in. Just tuck it in. Find a spot that makes you happy. This is basically you see me do this all the time. I will add things to the bow. The bow becomes my styrofoam or my arrangement. There's that little extra berry. I cut most of the pick off at the end, just enough in there to nestle that in to the hops in the bow, glue it down, and we're done. Look how cute it is. Look how cute it is. I love pumpkins. I can't help it. Like I want to, cuteness aggression is real. You ever want to squeeze things? That's cuteness aggression. For me, wiener dogs, well, puppies, kittens, doesn't matter. I don't discriminate. I love all puppies and kittens. And punkies. Look how pretty. The detail on that mold is amazing. Now, if I had thought about it when I pulled it out, I would have curved that stem while the resin was still pliable. But in the event, warming it up still worked out okay. I won that match. That's me. That's a domino. And look what we created. She's so pretty. I love it. Tell me your thoughts. This $1.25 frame. It's gorgeous. Now, our second DIY, this little random jar spoke to me at Dollar Tree. I think it was earlier this year at some point. I said, you know what? That looks like a pumpkin. And it also looks like it's sweater. It looks like sweater pattern. So it's a sweater pumpkin. It's sweater weather pumpkin. Anyway, so we're going to take a beautiful color, Summer Crush from DIY Paint. It's a beautiful orange. And we're going to paint up this little glass guy right here. Now, this took a couple coats. You see here, it's very, when you put the first coat on the glass, it's kind of getting like smooshed all around, like it's really watery. DIY paint is very heavily pigmented. It's clay-based. It's a very nice paint. This one did take 2 coats. Now, watch how fast this dries here. You can see it starts to lighten up as it dries. I love watching it dry. It's like one of those weird things. It's like I like watching candle carving videos too. I like watching paint dry. Well, sorry, I like watching DIY paint dry. Put that on a t-shirt. Tell DIY girl about it. Now, second coat you can see here. She's darkening up pretty good, right? It's looking like a really good color. I'm loving every second of it. And so literally all I did was 2 coats. So you see me here. Just apply that all over and let it dry. Same thing. She's so pretty. And then when we're done, this is what we have. That's a nice color. It's gorgeous. But because it is DIY paint, we need to seal it. So guess what we did? Oh, you're not going to get... Oh, wait, hold on. I already told you. Dark wax. I know, sharker. There's a theme going here, guys. We're going to paint it, then we're going to dark wax it. Then we're going to cover it in something, then we're going to put dark wax on it. And then we're going to... See that? We're going to put more dark wax on it. So it's bringing out like that little sweater pattern in the glass. So cute. It just kind of worked out that way that it looked like a sweater. So again, I went a little bit lightly at first because I always try to kind of be a little bit cautious in the beginning. And then after that, I kind of just... I go extra all over it. Just extra all over it. You name it. And then at some point I'm like, don't be scared, and just put more wax on it and see what happens. And then of course get that on the bottom and then around the top, because we're sealing our orange crush, Summer Crush, our pretty little orange color underneath there. And we are just making sure we get every little portion of it. I want to make sure that pattern shows the most, but then also you can't tell me it doesn't look like a pumpkin. I love it. I see, maybe my brain's probably cobwebs and pumpkin shapes, but in any event, I saw a pumpkin, and we are going to make this a pumpkin, and I cannot wait to show you what I put on the top of it. It's like it fell into my hands. Now, because this is a glass jar, I am not going to shove styrofoam in there to fill it up. So in order to fill this up from the bottom, I just went and got some tissue paper. I have the most Mondo fabulous massive 5 billion sheet bag of white tissue paper I got at Costco when I was 10 years old. Literally, I've had it for ages. And so I think I put about maybe 4 or 5 sheets in here, 4 sheets, and then I ripped up the last one, or 3 sheets. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and then, 3, and then I ripped up the last one. So there's 4 sheets of tissue paper in there. And then I went and got my styrofoam junk bucket, because I got junk buckets for everything. So I got little pieces of styrofoam in here, because what we're going to do is I'm going to chop this up, and then there's a method to my madness. I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to put this in here and kind of just jam it in, but then I'm going to cut it into little tiny pieces, because basically what I'm looking for is a texture and something to glue things to. See this cute little stem? This came out of the little packet of stems that I got from, I don't know if I either got them at Hobby Lobby. I either got them at Dollar Tree or I ordered them off. I think that's the ones I ordered from Amazon. I just got little cut pieces of wood. Now what I'm looking for is texture. So we're going to glue the styrofoam pieces to the tissue paper, and the tissue paper, that's going to go to the wood stem, because basically all of this does not work well with glass. Hot glue and glass comes apart. But The stem, the styrofoam, and the tissue paper will not. Once you literally melt them together with liquid hot magma hot glue, they're not going anywhere. This all best friends whether they like it or not. It's like, you know, your family. You can't pick your family. So, that's not I'm not saying I want it. Anyways, moving on. Now, I'm going to take my favorite little, you know, camouflage here. I love Spanish moss. I used to dislike it so much because of its mess, but it really is a feeling. It's not necessarily a supply for me. To me, it's a feeling. And what doesn't scream fall, farmhouse, or distressed country goodness than Spanish moss, man. I can't help it. So I grabbed a decent amount of Spanish moss from my little bag here, and I'm going to tuck it all around that styrofoam on the edges around the top of our pumpkin stem, our little punkie stem. Also, please be careful because the hot glue does go through Spanish moss, since, you know, it's not a solid thing. Here's your sign. I have lots of signs, by the way. How many signs do you have? On all 10 fingers, I've had many, many signs to say, that's going to be hot. Now, I'm taking some of that same leftover twine that we used for the bow in our first project. I used basically almost all of this twine that I took off of a Dollar Tree bucket in this video. Now, I'm just going to, first, what I'm doing is I'm just tying it in a knot around the neck of our bottle. The little bottle had a little neck on it with a perfect little groove around it. So I'm tying a square knot, which that's permanent knots, kind of like, I guess, a Boy Scout thing. My husband taught me that. Left over right tie, and then right over left, and you got yourself a square knot, and that's not going to come undone. Now, my idea was to put some extra tails on it. So I left them a little long in the beginning. So I just tied that around the neck, left the tails, and now I'm going to make a fake tail. So that's basically me I'm going to cut a strip of the twine, and I'm going to glue it to the twine that's already under there. So then we're going to start out our bow with an already pre-made tails. So I don't have to worry about tying tails to this. So if you see there, that's a good little hack or trick for any type of bow, any kind of ribbon. Just cut a long strip of whatever ribbon or twine and glue that to the back, and it looks like tails. You don't have to worry about anything coming out of the front or anything like that. So what I originally did here is I made a finger bow. But we're not going to use the finger bow on this particular little punkie right here. Now, there is a link in my description. I have a full finger bow tutorial that I made a couple years ago. I am going to update it pretty soon. It goes through single, multiple, double loop finger bows. Practice makes perfect. I know a lot of you say they're difficult. I'm going to remake another one so I can show you. All I did was practice. Now, that was a cute bow, but I decided not to use it. As you see, I discarded it. It didn't, again, I did that with care because we're going to use it in our last DIY. Now, for this one, I just decided to do a bundled bow, or I'm not sure what you call it. So basically, you're going to wrap your twine around all of your fingers. It's very similar to the one we did in our first DIY, where you're wrapping it around cardboard. But if you don't have cardboard, use your fingers. So I'm making different widths with my fingers to see what looks right on our project. Once you get that, you take it off your fingers, you pinch it in the middle. It's the exact same thing we did on the first project, almost like making a tassel, but not really, because we're going to wrap it around the middle. We use a little bit of glue, get that to solidify. Use a little, silicone spatula so you don't get the burns on your little fingers. Burn my paw so many. Man, let me tell you, if I had $1 every time I burnt my fingers, I would have many dollars. Now look how cute this little bundled bow is. Same as the other. I mean, I did do the same type of bow pretty much throughout this entire video. So I'm sorry. I know a lot of you guys said you missed my bigger bows, or I've gotten some requests for bows and stuff, but these just look so cute, and I get that happy little squishy crafty feeling, and I can't help it. I love it. I like it a lot. What do you think? She's so cute. No, I decided to cut the tails shorter here. At first I wanted to leave them a little bit longer so they sat on the table, but I was like, nah, just cut the tails shorter. And then so with our bundled bow and our fake little hack on tails, look how cute it is. Now, we're going to just add a little bit of extra accoutrement to the top of the cute little punkie here. That's a little, as you saw, I cut that leaf off of a bundle of leaves I got at Michael's. This is some leftover pitberry garland I got from craftoutlet.com. It's a crazy mustard color. I got that on such a good deal. I'm assuming nobody wanted that color. That has turned out to be such a gorgeous color for fall. Now the pitberry garlands, you see, like, they have their own little end pieces. When I got like 6 feet of it, it's not a solid 6 feet. The stuff is wound together on its own pieces where it begins and ends. So I kind of unwound these pieces that were already on what was left, and they ended up being like the perfect size here. I wrapped them around my little Scooby-Doo pencil, and that's how we're making our little tendrils for our pumpkin. So just coil it around. You can use your pencil, your pen, a paintbrush, a hot glue stick. That's, not in your hot glue gun, obviously. Unless you want it. Unless the gun is off and the glue is not hot. Anyways, use a glue stick that's not in the glue gun. And you got your perfect little tendrils there. So I used all 3 of those pieces that came apart. I had the 2 ends that I took off and then the middle piece. And what I'm going to do here is I'm applying glue, and we are going to literally just jam all of this stuff down in and around the punky stem into, the chances of me touching that tissue paper that's in there, slim to none. But it's at least sticking to the stem, it's sticking to the styrofoam, it's sticking to each other. We got a good little, we'll call it a mess of tension and glue. It's held together with, crafty dreams and and good thoughts and a little bit and copious amounts of hot glue. So here I'm cutting the stems a little bit shorter, and I'm just tucking it into our Spanish moss, and then I'm going to add the glue later, as of course, after I've already jammed them in there. This one needed a little bit of help, so I kind of got my needle nose pliers out and I shoved that down in that little bundle there of Spanish moss. Now, some of my Spanish moss was getting stuck on things. If you ever cut anything off of it, I like to take it in my hands and I kind of roll it in a ball in the palm of my hands. I like roll that like you would like you're making, I don't know, dough. What do you roll in your hands in the kitchen? Peanut butter balls? I've done that many times. Let me tell you, peanut butter balls are good. Totally got sidetracked. Back to crafting. I'm just adding glue around here just to make sure this thing doesn't get, you don't want anything falling out, especially if you end up giving this as a gift or selling it. You just want things to work out okay. So here's the little part I was telling you about. This little bit of extra come off. Now, I'm going to tuck this on the top here, but then I do later on go back and I add another one of these little hand-rolled, little bundled balls of Spanish moss to underneath that leaf, so that it doesn't, you don't see the glue in those things that we've used underneath. You basically want to hide the behind the scenes is all we're doing. So using my spatula, our little silicone there. Now, you could stop here, but I had the idea of what else do I love other than pumpkins and wiener dogs? Buttons. I love buttons. Now, this is my little bucket of natural buttons. This is a pack I got off of Amazon. So they're listed in my store should you want to take a peek at the same pack of buttons. But look at this button here I'm about to show you in about 2 seconds. This one I just picked out because it was yellow and it has stitching on it. Look at it, it's perfect. I lost my mind over how perfect and cute this button is. I didn't even hesitate. I said, yep, I love it. I'm going to get the glue and I'm committing and I'm gluing it down and then I'm going to stare at it. I was smiling like an absolute goofball, dude. I was so happy with this. This button literally made me way more happy than you think it should have. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of using these as, it's like a little collage, you could say. It's like a little happy collage of buttons. So you could put other things in here. You could put acorns. I know Hobby Lobby, Dollar Tree had some little cupcake toppers. You could pull the sticks out. You could glue those in here. You could use other florals, little buds, anything, beads. You could put anything in here. I decided to go with buttons and I couldn't be happier. So I just, at this point, found other buttons that I felt looked good. I did layer a darker button inside our pretty perfect little yellow stitch button, but it's like the perfect color. Now here I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. I did put glue on the edge and then going up the back, and that's how I nestled all these buttons in here. Now for this one, it's attached to one of the tails on our twine because, again, that glass little bottle is covered in wax. So your hot glue won't stick to it. So what I did here was I glued it to the underside of our bow, and the back is glued to the actual tail. And for there, it says deer form. For some reason, it's just so cute. And also I'm showing you, I'm going to glue another bow, but down lower. Not in the center. I'm going to glue it lower so you can still see the word deer forms. Even though, if you're looking at that kind of detail, for me, that makes my heart happy. I can't help it. I want to squeeze it. Look how cute. Oh, so cute. I love the fact that you can read the deer form on the button. I love the fact that you can see the stitching on that yellow button. It's the perfect color. It matches the leaf. All of this makes me happy. And also I did add a little bit of wax, just what was already left in my little wax brush around the edges of that leaf. For some reason that footage was not shown, but you can see there, all I did was kind of just dust it with a little bit of the dark wax. But other than that, that is so perfect. I love this. I love that. If I had known that would turn out so beautiful, I probably should have bought more of those little glass bottles at the Dollar Tree. But you tell me your thoughts. What do you think? She's so cute. Okay, our last DIY, guys. This one's got a lot of steps, so please bear with me. Now, I have had these floral craft rings for ages, and they still sell them at Michael's. I have never known what else to do with them. I used to make mesh wreaths many, many years ago, like 15 years ago when mesh first came out. I thought I was going to be the bomb, and I bought a bunch of them, and I used a staple gun. And you ever go back to your old crafts and then you look at them embarrassingly? Yeah, that's what I use these rings for, and I've got many of them. These are 6-inch rings, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pad them all. So this is regular batting, so I'm going to cut 3 circles of this out to be the exact size of the floral rings themselves. And this is just regular batting. This is some extra stuff I've had in my own stash, in my own sewing stash. Please use whatever suits your crafting desires. Now I got 3 of those there. Now this is actual blanket batting, or some sort of quilting / quilting blankety batting. Now we're going to do 3 of these also. Now I've already have these cut in squares because I was using them for other projects. And what on this we're going to do is we're going to cut out 3 of the centers too, because we're going to need to fill that hole from the back side. So we're going to get 3 of the regular batting, 3 of the blanket batting in the large, and then 3 of the blanket batting or the quilting batting in the smaller circles. So it'll all make sense in about a second. Just want to show you the process. Lots of tracing, lots of cutting. Now here's our ring. Here is the quilted or the quilting batting, blanket batting. We're going to put that on the outside, on one side, sorry, not the outside, on one side. Then once we put that down, very gingerly, I had my glue gun almost face down on the piece, so I was squishing out the glue between the tip of the gun and the actual floral form. There wasn't that much room, so it wasn't like it was really squished out. Then you saw there I used my lighter glue gun here. This is obviously not as hot of glue. I put one of the smaller ones in the center on the back, and then I'm going to put the regular batting over the top here. So this is just my idea of layering with the supplies that I had. I did not buy anything for this. So this is what I had in my home. So if you have a better idea, please, all your suggestions, I'd love them. But this is my idea here. See the thickness? We're going to pad this now. So we're going to go grab your fabric. Now, these are my Dollar Tree fabrics that I've had. I love these little fall guys. I love all the pumpkins and the sunflowers on this one. And then this green plaid speaks to me. It screams harvest and it screams love me. And I said, I do. I love you. Now, we're going to do 1 with the pumpkins in the middle. And we're going to do 2 with that plaid for the outside. And if you've already seen my thumbnail, we're going to make a punkie wall hanger. We're just going to make a really big punkie. Now, I was also thinking while I was making this, you could turn these into individual punkies. You don't necessarily need to make 1 large pumpkin out of this. You can do 3 small ones, make them shelf setters, make them, tabletop displays. You could put like a little picture frame on the back of it, like a Dollar Tree thing with the little leg on it. You could do anything you want with them. But I decided to make it 1 beautiful, grand, large queen pumpkin. And she's so pretty. Now, 2 plaids. I'm just showing you how we cut the fabric. I measured the orange one, and then I just used that kind of as a guide. Now, I did cut a little bit too much on the other, but I cut off my excess. I saved it, and we're going to you will see that some other day because I don't throw anything out, guys. Now, here I'm going to adjust this all. Now, this was covered much better than the last video I did. I just did a video where I covered something almost identical to this. Probably, in fact, I think it was my very last video. I was a little bit messy on the back. Now this one, these turn out so much better. So what I did was I'm using my lower heats, my fine tip glue gun there. Lower heat gun, and I'm pulling with tension around all the edges. So I'm still gonna do top and bottom, and then each side. So north, south, east, west, whatever you wanna say, top, bottom, left, right, north, south, east, west, you name it. Kind of bring those things in, almost like you're wrapping a present, but you're not gonna wrap all of it. You're gonna leave the back showing. So there's the top and bottom. We're going to switch it around. Now we're going to do the sides. So basically bottom and top again. And again, I'm just putting enough glue on there, and I'm pulling. You can see here I'm pulling up with tension. I'm going to zoom in a second to show you when we're going to do the detail stuff here. And then also I'll show you again, and I sped it up when we're doing one of the, I think I did one of the plaids. I might be speaking too early. Hold on, I don't want to make promises. Let's just get through this first one, Whitney. I'm just rushing myself here. Now do the top, okay. And again, I'm pulling with enough force to make sure it goes over the curve. So just kind of pull it up. Now, here you can see I'm rolling down some hot glue, and then I'm taking my one hand and I'm pulling the fabric down, and then with my left hand I am putting the tension of it and I'm smoothing it down from the edge of the ring. So that's how we're going to get a nice edge on a circle. So you're putting enough tension in there that the circle will be shown and it won't just look like a bunch of folds in the fabric. Now I'm going to cut off all the excess around the edges because we're going to cover the back of this with some felt to make it look pretty. And even then, the middle piece isn't going to show that much because we're going to layer them. But if you choose to make these individually, you're going to want the back to be pretty. Or at least I would want the back to be pretty. I don't want to see the behind the scenes. Nobody wants to see that. And as you see there, pull down and just kind of, as long as you're using tension, look at that nice edge. This has turned out so much better than in my last video. I love it. And obviously, as you make more of these, you get better at it. You know, it's like your first pancake. It's always a little wonky and misshapen, and you may have tried to flip it too soon and it just falls apart. But then by the time you get to your third pancake, that thing's perfection now. That's the one you want everybody to have. But then you're like, well, I don't want to eat the wonky pancake. Spoiler, they all taste great, just so you know. So don't worry about your first pancake. That's a Gilmore Girls reference if you're with me on that. So it's a fun, anyways, moving on. Look at my perfect little circle. Now, I'm going to show you a lot faster and a close-up here. I did cut off some extra on some of this plaid fabric because here I did cut it a little bit too big. So again, we're doing top and bottom and then left and right. And then when we go in for the corners, it's just a tuck and a pull, tuck, pull, tuck, pull. Use your hand, use the tension from one hand, and then use your fingers to pull it down. Cut off your excess fabric, and look how pretty. I mean, again, I've sped this up 7 times. I'm looking at my editing here. I sped it up. This is 7 times faster than I did it. So, still fun, still a good time. Just want to show you how we did them. Not going to make you watch the third one, but look how pretty they are. So now we have all of our little punky circles. Now you could do this with a piece of wood, or I know Walmart sells the wood plaques, little wooden plaques. You could do this the same thing with all these. I just happen to have these floral craft rings and had nothing to do with them for so many years and said, you know what, I'm taking these and I'm making a pumpkin out of it. Somehow I will make that happen. Pumpkins will appear. Now, I am going to trace the circle of our little pumpkin pieces onto felt, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the fabric, except for with the felt, I'm using pinking shears to make it look all cute and pretty. It is not going to be that cute and pretty on the end. But again, I am a human. I do not cut a perfect circle. That is how I am. I'm at least covering it, and that's what makes me happy. That will make my eyes happy. So I'm going to try to make things as even as I can. Kind of cut that off there too. And then you could make these into coasters. I mean, you're going to have to add a stem to all of them. But remember, it's just like the pumpkin topper I just did. That's what it was, the pumpkin topper from the last video. But that was an octagon because that's how I used to cut the tops off the pumpkins when we used to carve pumpkins. Love it, so cute. There's probably a better way of wrapping that fabric around that pumpkin topper, but in any event, this circle turned out great. This is another version. You could do another pumpkin topper if you wanted to. Except for this looks like a coaster now because we're putting felt on the back of it, but I just needed to cover up the circle. And since we put that extra little small circle in the middle, we've got pretty much our little panels. We'll call them pumpkin panels. We got cute little punky panels to make a little punky. So we're going to put the 2 plaid guys, we're going to butt them up against each other. And what I'm going to do here is try to make them even. Now, it just so happened that the fabric patterns were even, but don't go by that because that might not be the case depending on your fabric pattern and how you've wrapped it. Just to make sure. Just because it looks pretty, that's going to get covered up anyways. So you saw me put that was just for tacking purposes. That's not going to hold anything. And now in order to get the pumpkin centered correctly, I'm looking at where the stripes are on the edges and where the edge of the pumpkin goes, so that I know where to put the pumpkin back down at, or at least our top pumpkin panel. Lots of punky panel pieces. It's like a tongue twister, man. Say punky panel pieces 5 times. Punky panel pieces, punky panel pieces. Lad, apparently lots of glue, Whitney. Jeez. I mean, but then again, it's not coming apart, is it? She's solid, guys. She's solid. And I live in the desert, so you can put that outside. Now, hot glue will melt in the sun in the 100 billion degree weather we have out here, so be careful. Now, this right here, this was this one was dumb, but I still did it and I still want to show you. So I cut a strip of fabric or felt that I had left, thinking that this is going to be how we're going to secure this together. This is so great. Such a wonderful idea. I'm so smart. Now I put this down and it kind of doesn't do anything other than, add more weight to the project and waste supplies. But I'll show you in a second what I do to fix it. It's also crooked because it's longer on one side than the other, but I'm just literally going to criticize it and pick it apart because it was really a pointless measure gesture on my part, but I want to show you what it did. Why cover it up? So here I'm thinking, yay, it looks great. Well, it didn't hold. So I'm going to take some craft tape. Now over felt, yeah, you're wondering what is it? This is craft tape. I like using this on the back of picture frames because it makes it look like, you know, a gallery, professional framed artwork and stuff. So I use pinking shears to cut the tape so it's kind of nicer looking. Again, I'm about making the backs of things look as finished as possible. So I just covered it with the craft tape and you can't see it. And the craft tape does hold well. It sticks to the felt just fine. And that's pretty much a solid piece. Unless you want to put a piece of wood back there, but I'm not going to weigh that back down and then, you know, have to use the staples on all that. But here we're going to make a hanger real quick. This is also, once again, that same twine we've used to make bows. So I stapled the edges down and I'm using my finger to twist it together. Now I'm going to find the length that my Happy Crafty Heart feels is adequate for a hanger. And again, you don't have to hang this, but you do have the option to hang it. I'll show you pictures of it hanging and pictures of it, finished pictures of it in my studio lights hanging and one as a shelf setter. Both, either or, because you can hide this behind the piece if you decide to lean it up against the wall or put it, you know, somewhere around a display. So I still didn't like the staples showing. I'll put a little bit of hot glue in there. Might have been overkill, but at least I know these things won't come apart and is not coming undone. That will not fall off the wall unless the nail comes out. I cannot help that. Now again, I took some pinking shears and I cut the tape into other little pieces and we covered up all the staples. Now, we need a stem. This is one of the 3-foot paint sticks that you get at the Lowe's or Home Depot in the 3-pack. I like the top of paint stick handles here because I think they look great for punky stems. So I'm just trying to get an idea here of how long I want to cut this because we are going to cut it. Now I have this little mini miter box razor saw set that I got off Amazon a few years ago. I love this for this exact reason. It cuts paint sticks very easy and very quick. You got to get that saw going, and once you're just in there, you just zip right through it and it comes apart so quickly. And now I cut that crooked too, but we won't talk about that. That's the end. We're going to take my favorite wood tint. It's a Folk Art Home Decor wood tint in the color Walnut. She is my most gorgeous favorite color. You guys see me use it all the time. And again, if this stuff is redundant or repetitive, I don't know that I'm sorry about it because it's all pretty and I love it. I love it. I mean, I could watch the same thing over and over again because technically it's a new project. So again, these are my colors, my pieces, my choices. These things make me happy. Take your theme, your color, your preferences, and go ham and let me know exactly how pretty it is. It could apply to anything. Now, mistake's going to be made right about here. Coming up, you're going to see. I cut the corners off of this because it was still a little bit too long, and I could nestle it right down in the little V shape right there on the back of that. So I'm just using my wire cutters here to cut the corners off of that stick. Nothing crazy. It's just, you know, trying to compensate for eyeballing things. And it is what it is. This is crafting, right? This is crafting. So I will make it fit. I'll find a way. So now it's okay. That looks good. I'm going to take my sander and my little hand sander, and I'm going to smooth out those edges, and I'm going to apply it. Now, here's where the boo-boo happens, and then we're going to find out another boo-boo. This piece, that's the hanger. That needs to go behind the stem. I am currently going to glue this on behind the hanger. The hanger goes behind the stem. So right now, when we flip it over in the front, you're going to see in a second. Also, I put like 50,000 staples on the back, thinking I'm like, this is so secure, it's not going anywhere. Let me put all these staples in here, just go overboard with these staples. Why, Whitney? Here you go, flip it over, but oh, really? Really, Whitney? And then I had to sit and contemplate. All right, cool. Let me just try. Let me see. It's not going to fit over the top because I specifically wanted it to not be that long. And I'm like, oh, let me pull this up. Yeah, those staples didn't go through the paint stick at all. They weren't long enough. Rookie mistake. Check your staples before you staple something. It's so easy. Take the staples out and look to see, are they longer than the thickness of your wood? Derp. Total derp. So I said at this point, all right, cool. Put the hanger in the back, put some more glue on it, put our little paint stick down there so we have our punky stem. And then I contemplated on trying to pull out all of those staples I put in it, but I didn't. I think I did. We'll show you in a second. I said, got the hanger in the right spot. That's being held down. The glue's solidifying. I said, let me put all this garbage away while I hold this glue down. And then I was like, let me try and take the staples out. Well, I got one out, and then I realized I am going to tear up the back of this. And again, I'm all about things looking pretty. So the staples give you the false sense of security. They're not actually holding anything in, but the glue does. So there's my mistake. Don't do what I did. Now, oh, Henry, what are you doing? Henry says hi, guys. Henry says hi. He knows when Mommy's voice recording, so he has to make noise. Yes. Now, what was I doing? dark wax again. I know you guys are literally shocked at the amount of dark wax I'm using in this video, and pretty much all of my videos, and probably every video you're going to see after this and before this. So I took the dark wax and I'm going around the edges of our punkie panels. I hadn't had a plan at this point. I kind of just wanted to put a bow on it and stop, but then the rest of this came to me and I couldn't be happier. It's like one of those things where happy accidents just kept happening. You know, Bob Ross was with me. So I'm taking the edges and I'm going a little bit lighter. This is my second round with the dark wax to darken the edges. So we're doing even more of that good little, I guess want to say what, country farmhouse distressed. It adds such a great dark smoky look to it. I love all of it. Now, on top of the dark wax on our edges, I'm going to use some burlap rope that I got from Amazon. I also used this in my last couple of videos. This is a good thickness of rope. Now, I should have gotten the fuzzies off of it before I did this, but for the rest of it, I did defuzzify it. That's a technical term there. Write that one down. I did defuzzify it before I glued it to the top of the pumpkin, but for the edges, I just took hot glue and I wrapped it around all 3 of those punkie panels. Now you'll see here, I cut this on the end because there's no need to make them, you know, one solid piece. Then I'm going to start and do the other side, starting at the top, gluing our burlap rope around the edge. It's a finishing touch. It adds so much. I just think, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, how did you think of it? I just had it and saw it and felt, I will glue this to it and it will be beautiful. And then I will look at it. If you're one of those people that needs to know the why, that's all I got for you. It's because I wanted to. It's so pretty. Now, again, the edges all around. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm done with this. But then now it just looks like 3 circles. So why not add, what are they called? Veins? I'm going to add the little grooves, our little grooves of our punkie to this to give it some more texture, more dimension, more, you know, insert technical word here. So here's where I'm telling you I got rid of the fuzzies. Again, I have a bucket of water, a spray bottle. Everything is good and safe to go. I'm also very close to a bathroom and a bathtub. So just be careful when you're using fire indoors around paper and fabric. Just be careful. So here is what I'm saying. I defuzzified everything beforehand. So here I am just kind of guesstimating how much I need to do what I'm going to call our center punkie veins. I'm going to add all the little punkie veins around, you know, on each side. So I'm going to start by gluing it to the top. And I'm going to add 2 of them here to the orange part in the center. And then I'm only going to put 1 on either side in our plaid fabric panels. And I think it just added what I needed it to be. Now it's screaming pumpkin to me. Before it just looked like 3 circles. I was like, it could be 3 separate pumpkins and then 2 of them are missing their stems. But no, for me, this is probably where I literally just was over the moon. You know, you're very critical of your own work. It's a human reaction. As I always say, you're your own worst critic, but I also say beauty is in the eye of the beholder too. So, you know, whether you like it or not, someone's going to adore it. Because even the things that I go, you know, I don't like it that much. I get so many people like, oh, I love it. I'm like, really? Because I don't. But thank you. Appreciate it. That's why everybody has different taste. This right here sealed it for me. These little punkie veins just kind of did that rest of that for me. Also, and of course, you know what we're going to do, guys. If you've seen the thumbnail and you see my pictures on Instagram, we are going to add all kinds of cute stuff all around it. So I have sped this up 5 times, but again, I wanted to leave it in for you to see the process. So again, I did speed this up. I've been trying to leave some of my footage in at regular speed. For those of you, I've gotten a few comments about speeding things up too much. So I'm trying to do little different things here and there, see if it works, see if it doesn't. For me, I kind of do see the reason that some of you have asked for me to not speed everything up. I'm like, yes, I want to fit everything in the video, but at the same time, I get that you sometimes, if you're really trying to watch and learn, that, you know, seeing it at 8 times sped up might not be the best part. So tell me your thoughts, at least on that, on the speed and, you know, format, all that goodness. But some of these little ends weren't really making me happy. They're kind of a little bit too ragged. So what I did was my go-to filler hider, behind the scenes takeawayer more Spanish moss. Now, this is very small amounts, and we're only going to glue this around the bottom and at the top, on the top two parts where we're not going to cover the middle with a bow. But I did, you know what, never mind, I did add Spanish moss in there because, again, it's something good for filler. I'm going to cut this off at the bottom, so I am trimming it to make it a little bit, you know, less scary or hairy. Scary hairy pumpkin. She's so cute. I love this, guys. I love how this all turns out. Now, this is so many steps. This was a labor of love, but it turned out so cute, so one-of-a-kind cute. These are the things that you can't help, and you will get a different feel from everything if you pick different fabrics, different ribbons, if your twine is different, your all good stuff. So you saw the one green roll here. This is from Dollar Tree. And then I have a I have a brown grosgrain ribbon that's about 2 inches wide. So for this one, I was kind of looking at it like it's going to be the leaves on the top of a pumpkin. So I just cut 2 strips of it off of the roll. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to diagonally cut the ends on each side. So I'm going to cut a diagonal on both strips, on both ends. And it might look as though you're shortening your ribbon a little bit too much, but we are going to use this as an accent. It's going to be put on the top there by our stem. I'll show you in a second. We're just going to pinch it in the middle, and we're going to use it. And the way it looks once you get that stapled down there, it gives the perfect vibe of pumpkin leaves. Check this out. That's also because it's all kind of, you know, that webby look is very crazy and wild, just like, you know, pumpkin leaves were. Look how cute it is. Oh, I want to squeeze my monitor. It's so cute. I want to hug it. So cute. And then just one staple. I calmed down. Oh no, sorry, 2. I can't even crown on myself. Jeez, Whitney. 2 staples, not bad. Not 7, you know, because, you know, that Dollar Tree ribbon's gonna jump off your project. Now, I just cut a length of that brown grosgrain. It's about, what is that? It's 1.5 inch. And then I dovetailed the ends. I put some fire on it so that they don't, you know, razzle, so they don't fray. And then here I did an awareness ribbon, pinched it in the middle, and we're taking some twine and we're just going to wrap it around once and then tie a knot around it. I might have wrapped it twice and then tie a square knot on the back. We're not going to go overboard with the center like I've done on many bows because this is going to be very, very simple. I didn't want it to be bulky, so I did calm myself. But look how cute it is. I love that loopy bow with the little dovetail tails. It's like the perfect classic bow. Those are the bows I like to see on clothes and pillows, and just these bows make me happy too. Apparently everything makes me happy. If it's on a pumpkin, maybe it's because it makes me happy. But look how cute it is. You could stop now, but you know I won't. But you could. I mean, you could have stopped 15 steps ago. But tell me what you think. Would you have continued going? Because when I think I should stop, I still add more, and it turns out so cluttered and beautiful. Love it. Now here's another piece of that mustard color pipberry garland I got from craftoutlet.com. They had many, many colors, but I love this weird, I was like, this one's not loved. It was on clearance because nobody wanted it. Look at the weird mustardy brown color. It's so perfect. So we're making more tendrils. So again, these little projects kind of match each other. You could put them together in a vignette in your home somewhere together, like maybe a tiered tray in a shelf center, or regardless, they're all complementing each other. So I just tuck those tendrils in on left and right side. We're not going to go overboard as much as I want to put 6 tendrils on something, you know, big ones, small ones. I like them to go a little crazy, left, right, bend them in weird ways. I kind of tried to calm it down. You know, I'm saying that at this point, me trying to calm it down, that's, yeah, well, it's called, it's Antonym Tuesday. What are you going to say? I'm saying everything the opposite. Here's that finger bow we made for the first project. Remember I told you we're going to save it off to the side? Burnt my fuzzies off of it, and we're just going to pop that right back in the middle there. And that is it. I promise you I'm done. I promise you. Look how cute it is. So I got a couple bows layered. I got that Dollar Tree ribbon as the leaves in the back. It all came together. I couldn't be happier. So here's a little close-up of all the fuzzies. And you know that Spanish moss is not coming off as bad. I did trim it. So again, if you're not a fan of Spanish moss, you can give it a little haircut, trim it down with your scissors, and then you'll have less of the crazy pieces that will fall off eventually. Now it's going to have some falling out. That's normal. Just like glitter, you know, my eyes twitching, like Dollar Tree glitter ribbon. Wow, you know. But look at, oh, in that paint stick stem. This so happy. He's so happy. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So that's it for our video, guys. So we're going to do our end stuff here. Here's a look at all of our goodies here. I love that yellow button. Oh, so happy. I literally jumped out and I was like, I went and got my husband. I was like, Kurt, look at this perfect button. And my husband, if you're not familiar, my husband's colorblind. So he's like, oh, that's great, babe. That's wonderful. I'm like, look at it. It's a perfect color, isn't it? Oh, wait, never mind. I just want to share my joy with someone, please. Again, the Dollar Tree frame. I should have got more. You probably, maybe, if I can't control myself, I will go get more the next time I run past a Dollar Tree. And again, my Dollar Tree moved, so now I have a plus section. So I'm about to go even more crazy because I got some pumpkins. Some $5 pumpkins and $3. You saw me make that little pumpkin topiary. So what do you think? I love all these. They made me so happy and they all look so great. Now, I have a coffee page, so if you feel like you've learned something or you like my videos, you can support my channel. You can buy me a cup of coffee and take a peek at my DIYs. They will be for sale there. Never required, always appreciated. And with all that being said, I love you more than I can possibly say in words. Many hugs, happy crafting, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.